doing an interview with New India Abroad. This should. So my first question for you is, how does NIO differ from the EVs that are currently on the market?
Great question. I think this is one of the questions I always get from, even from my friends and media and everyone else that's surrounding me here. So as you know, as we all know, the automotive industry is definitely on the cusp of a profound change, not just on the products and technology side alone, but also the change of user experiences and the innovation of the products itself. So in that regard, I feel NIO's vision is fundamentally different than almost all of the OEMs, including some of the prominent ones in the United States as well as in Europe. So we hope to give a new definition of a car ownership experience. What I mean by that is, before I get there, as a company, we believe we are a pioneer and a very leading company in the premium smart electric vehicle market. We are a relatively young company. We founded back in November of 2014. Mm-hmm. And our mission is to shape what I call it as a joyful lifestyle. So we aim to build a community starting with smart electric vehicles and then share the joy and growth together with our users. So essentially, we are after building a user enterprise, the best user enterprise. And the vehicle is just a fabric or a means of finding, nurturing, and growing that community of users. So in that regard, our vision and the mission is fundamentally different. And in terms of the product, we design and develop and manufacture and sell, smart, premium electric vehicles by driving innovations in the next generation technologies and, autonomous driving, digital technologies, including artificial intelligence, electric powertrains, and the battery itself. We also differentiate through our technological breakthroughs and innovations, such as our industry-leading battery swapping technologies, which is something that's been always referred to when the word NIO comes in. It's always many users who are not familiar with it. They know NIO through our leading battery swapping technologies. Mm-hmm. And that enabled us to create a new business model called battery as a service, as well as our proprietary autonomous driving technologies. And, we call it as autonomous driving as a service, or ADAS. So fundamentally, our mission is different that of any OEMs out there that, the viewers are familiar with. So
could you explain two terms? What is battery swapping?
So battery swapping is, if you step back and think about it, what is the main reason impeding the broader adoption of electric vehicles around the world, not just in any particular country around the world? It's all about the concern or anxiety around the battery itself. Right. What I mean by the anxiety is the range anxiety. What is the most expensive part in any electric vehicle? It's the price of the battery, right? Battery pack is, recall back in the days, when, of course, the pioneer Tesla, when they launched their initial vehicle, I recall that the price of the battery was roughly about $20,000.
Wow.
That's like the price of a, Honda Accord right. Back in the days, right? So, because that's a new concept, and that was the price. Although granted, now with all of the innovations in the battery cell technology and whatnot, the price has come down. But still, the point is, the most expensive component in any electric vehicle is the battery pack itself. So we, as a relatively young global company now, it's almost a little over 80 years into existence. Before we started designing the car, we went back to the drawing board. How can we drive? What is required for broader adoption of electric vehicles? Well, we need to solve this all concern around the battery and the charging infrastructure. So we thought we got to give a variety of options to our users, whoever wants to buy our products. So internally, we call it as, chargeable, swappable, and upgradable end-to-end power replenishment system. What I mean by that is chargeable, as the name indicates. NIO has, like other OEMs, we have our proprietary home chargers. We provide it to our users. You can install it. There are two types of battery home chargers that we provide. Slow and a little faster chargers. And then the breakthrough is on the second one, which is the swappable.
Mm-hmm.
How can we give the time back to the users quickly, right? Today, if you look at, yes, you can go to any fast chargers out there. Still, it does take roughly about 20 to 30 minutes to get about 80% state of charge.
Right.
That's still a lot of time, right? Think of it. If you are a top-notch doctor or a lawyer, your value of time is so critical and then important. It's expensive. 30 minutes can translate into $200, $300, $400 or even more, depending on who you are. So we want to give that time back, and by providing an immersive user experience. So that's when we decided to invest and engineer and innovate on our battery swap. As the name indicates, what it is, battery swap station is like 3 parking spots. If you can visualize that, that's all it takes, the real estate start point.
Mm-hmm.
The car comes in, any NIO car comes in for a battery swap. You park the car in front of the swap station, which is, again, by the way, proprietary NIO power swapping station. We call it as PSS. And then from your instrument cluster inside your car, you just push off a button. You don't even have to get out of the car. The car will reverse park itself autonomously into the swap station. Rest everything is done automatically, magically by the robotic systems. The robot comes out from the swap station, and then it unscrews the battery from the bottom of your new vehicle, mm-hmm. and put that into an empty slot, and takes a fully charged battery, put that back into the car, screws it up, screw that, 8 screws, I believe. And then after that, it does a validation. When the headlight blinks, the car wakes up, you are off go.
So you're literally getting a new battery each time.
That's correct. Essentially, you are getting a safe, secured battery in less than 4 minutes. It is faster than you fill up your gas tank in a gas station. Mm-hmm. Before you finish your latte, Starbucks latte or whatever you drink, you have your battery swapped. I mean, how cool is that, right? So that gives you time back, and then you don't have to have a concern. So this, by the way, we have done as of a couple of weeks ago, we have done over 28 million successful swaps. Wow. 28 million. So that means the technology is proven. This also enabled us to come up with a breakthrough business model called battery as a service. Mm-hmm. As I mentioned earlier, the battery is still the most expensive in the car. And the overall, the premium luxury electric vehicles are still pricey. Not everybody can afford to own it. Our vision is to drive this more EV adoption, which means we need to be able to give the purchasing power to those users who cannot afford owning a 60, 70,000 or even higher car. So with this breakthrough in battery swap technology, we are able to solve that problem also. Essentially, an average user, financially, the middle class user, they can buy a new car without the battery, because we split the car and the battery into 2 separate transactions. Mm-hmm. So roughly, it reduces your upfront cost of ownership by roughly about $10,000 to $12,000, and then you subscribe on a monthly basis on the battery, right? So so your battery cost is you're not paying upfront. That also gives you, don't worry about buying a beefy battery and pay higher price, because you don't really need it. You subscribe to the lowest 70 kilowatt battery, for example, then you can rotate. You can swap out your battery station. So not only it solves your range anxiety issue, not only it solves the potential residual value of your vehicle going down, and the safety aspects, all of that, leave all of that worries to us. Sure. Right? It's a win-win for all, and we are able to get, as a matter of fact, in Norway, where we sell, one of the market we sell, over 95% of our new sales are coming from battery as a service model. Wow. So the users are loving that flexibility and the car ownership. This is what I said earlier. We are redefining what the fundamental car ownership model should be.
Interesting. And what is the range of these swappable batteries?
So it depends, right? It's a 70 kilowatt battery, which easily it can go a little over 300 miles, I would say, roughly. And then we are working on a 150 kilowatt battery, which you will hear pretty soon, that can go up to little over 1,000 kilometers, which means it's a little over 600 miles. So that's pretty beefy battery. But if you think about it, with the battery swap station deployment, you really don't need to go with that higher end battery. You can go with the smaller end battery, and then why pay that extra money, and then you can swap out. And the last thing I forgot to mention is the upgradable part.
Yeah.
Let's say there is that one specific use case, you have a need to go long distance. You really don't even want to have that, the 4 minute swapping in between, once or twice, depending on how far you want to go. Before you start the longest journey, which is a rare use case, you go to the nearest NIO power swap station, and you can upgrade the previously subscribed battery pack. Let's say 70 kilowatt is what you subscribe to. You say you want to go with the 100 kilowatt or 150 kilowatt. You just pay that nominal upgrade fee, and then your car is getting a latest and the beefier battery. Name one OEM who gives that kind of a flexibility in terms of upgradability of your vehicle. That's another beauty of this battery swap station. So I believe many OEMs are doing the software or the firmware over the air update, which means you can get the latest the feature sets, software and digital feature sets you can deploy onto your car, because that technology is out there now. We also do that, over 99.9% success rate of pushing that software and the firmware onto the production fleet. But we can also now upgrade your battery also. So essentially the whole car is now upgradable. And NIO is the only one who is doing that. That's very, very innovative.
Before we go on, you've used the term OEM. Could you please explain that, because we're videotaping this?
Yeah, the OEM is original equipment manufacturer. So that's a term that's used, in the industry in general. So in the context of automotive, when I say the OEMs, like in the US, like a Ford, General Motors, if you go to Asia, it's Toyota, Nissan, etc. If you go to Europe, BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, etc. These are all, generic term is called OEM. It's an automotive company. So who makes that product? Who is the original manufacturer?
Got it. Now, California has launched an ambitious plan to have all electric vehicles by 2035. And there's been a lot of contention about that, saying the state does not have the required infrastructure to be able to support a plan, including charging stations to be able to support this. Will the NIO supplant the need to have charging stations at specific points, and how many charging stations or how many battery swap stations will it take across the state of California to make your vision of NIO the premier car in California?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Before I go into specific details, right? One of the other reasons for the not so encouraging adoption of electric vehicles around the world is the infrastructure deployment, right? Because these are capital expensive, intensive projects. So these are real estate costs plus the hardware cost that's required to install these power charging stations. So to date, as we speak, so our proprietary power swapping stations, we have deployed about 1,800 of them. Mostly in China, mainland China. That's where we started from. So pretty much all of the major highways in China are completely now wired with the power swap station. So we have about a little over 500 stations along the expressways in China. And we also have NIO power chargers, which is equivalent to the Tesla superchargers as we know it. So that gives also a faster charger, but not as fast as the power swap stations. But the NIO power chargers, we deployed a little over 3,100 of them stations
in China.
I mean that's in China mostly, and also we can tap into the third party charge piles around the world. So that's in China alone, we have a little over access to about 860,000 plus third party chargers that we can tap into. And in Europe, we have I believe roughly about 25 or so. I think a little over 25 power swap stations are in operations in 5 European countries. As you all know, NIO entered the European market a couple of years ago through Norway, And then now we are, we are in 5 countries: Norway, Germany, Netherlands, Sweden, and Denmark. So, our commitment is to expand that network, right? Infrastructure network, starting with the power network. So we have 26 power swap stations deployed in Europe as we speak. And in terms of, you asked me about the California. So, we are working on our North American market entry strategy. And I can give you a specific date, but surely we'll share with you all when we are absolutely ready with that strategy. But we really, really understand how important the North American market, especially United States and in California, as we all know, it's a leading state in terms of innovation and then EVs. We know that it's a key and strategic automotive market that we need to penetrate in, but we are working on our strategy and we'll share when it is ready. But certainly there will be, the power swap station is one of our core innovations, and then it will travel wherever NIO goes, right? We believe that's the fastest way to get your charging is done, as I said, in less than 4 minutes. So how many of them do we need? That depends on the fleet size. Whenever we are about, we can sell and we are about to enter. Depends on the number of cars we sell. Accordingly, we will deploy the infrastructure also. So, but to give you a scale, in China right now we are about 1,800 of them, and our goal is by 2025 we will have at least 4,000 power swap stations deployed, if not more.
That's amazing. Right now, you have. You're planning to have 4,000 power stations in China to support how many cars there?
So as of August 31st, this is public knowledge. So NIO delivered little over 385,000, close to 385,000 premium smart EVs, right? So to support that 380,000, 85,000 cars, so we have about 2,000, close to 2,000 power swap stations. And that's just one way of charging, right? We also have this, as I mentioned, the NIO power charger, which is a little over 3,000 of them are installed it. And then we also have access to about 860,000 of third-party chargers. So we have adequate network there, but that's the math. 385,000 or so cars we are able to serve with about close to 1,800 power swap stations.
That's amazing. That's really fantastic.
But we will be expanding. Our commitment is this year alone, total about 1,000 more power swap stations to support this. Think about it, right? This is not just the tier 1 cities. We want to drive more adoption, which means you as a user who is living in, let's say, tier 3 or tier 4 cities, want to own an electric vehicle, but you will only buy it if there is adequate nearby charging infrastructure available. So we understand that. That's why this is, even though the power swap stations is an expensive, capital intensive step, we really understand. So that's our commitment. We will expand the swap station network as our fleet size increases.
Fantastic. 2 more questions and then I'll let you go. So you plan to bring the NIO to the US market by 2025. Do you anticipate challenges given our currently very fraught relationship with China and potentially a more fraught relationship if the presumptive Republican nominee comes back into office with his ban on imports from China?
That's a sensitive question. So I won't make any comments, directly. But as I mentioned earlier, the market is so big, right? We are all the world leaders have made the commitment to solve the climate change issues, and electric vehicles is part of that. One of the main factors driving that climate change initiatives around the world. And I strongly believe no one player, no one OEM, or not one smart EV company can actually satisfy the needs of the world economy. So there's always market is so big, and then NIO, we aim to capture and then penetrate into as much market segment as possible. But again, our core is to build that user enterprise and give a joyful lifestyle for our users. So we won't deviate from that vision and the mission. So, geopolitical concern, that is, it is indeed a concern, but it's I don't have any specific comments about that. I will let the political leaders and the leaders of nations to help solve that issue. But one thing I will tell you is, as a humanity, we have a lot of issues, right? We believe, what COVID did to us, it disrupted the entire world. But guess what? I mean, the potential impact, negative impact of the global warming could be much worse to the humanity as a whole. So to me, innovation has no boundaries. It doesn't have any, a country name attached to it, doesn't have a religion attached to it, doesn't have a nationality attached to it, doesn't have a gender attached to it. So innovations can come and has to come from everywhere around the world. Then only we can solve this common issues that is impacting the humanity as a whole. Right? So,
fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, that's our fundamental belief, right? It's, I'm not here to help solve the political or geopolitical, the perception of the issues, but, some of these cool innovations only NIO has, like the power swap stations or the battery swapping technology that we have. We have over 1,400 approved patents, and we are the only company in the planet Earth right now who have not only perfected, not only scaled, and it's proven and then safe. And we have done over 28 million successful swaps. That's like about every 1.5 seconds or 1.5 minutes, excuse me, a swap is being done.
That's amazing.
And in less than 4 minutes. Wow. That means, you are getting your time back. Very, very immersive user experience as a user you have, as a user, and then the technology that works. And that also drove a new business model. Right. These are some of the things that is only NIO brings to the table thus far. And then, why wouldn't the rest of the world enjoy it? That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely. May I ask you, is there a market for NIO in India?
There's a market for NIO everywhere.
Yes.
Again, I mean, right? Because every leader, every political leader, country leader, what I meant by that is, has pledged that by 2030, 2035, or 2040, no new cars sold will be on internal combustion. It has to be on electric, right? So there is this vision, there is this pledge, there is this commitment. How are you going to get to there? If there is innovation that's already out there, why wouldn't you, leverage and take that, and then if you can drive that faster to get to closer to your vision, why wouldn't you do that? So I humbly believe that we have NIO technology and the innovations needs to be enjoyed by everyone, not just in the US, in Europe, or in India, or other countries. Everyone. Likewise, other countries. It's all the innovative companies and the products and the services. I think there is an opportunity for everyone, for every country.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you this. You are opening a new office in San Jose on Wednesday, you said. Is that right?
That's right.
Yes. And where have you been based before this?
So we always have been in San Jose, which is, San Jose, as we all know, is the most innovative Silicon Valley capital. That's where all the innovation started. So our first office across the street from where we are today. So we started this in 2015, but we outgrew because now, then the COVID, everybody went home and whatnot. So we took another a beautiful facility very near to our old facility, but it's a state of the art with the core architecture is different. So yes, we are doing a grand opening on September 20th. So looking forward to having a nice celebration there. Hope to host you also one day, Sunita.
Fantastic. Thank you. Is there anything that you would like to add as we finish up this conversation?
In terms of,
I leave it to you. Any concluding remarks?
Clearly the electric vehicle revolution is just getting started, right? So the EV penetration is still relatively low as compared to the rest of the internal combustion engines. So, but with all the government leaders actually pledging to drive more EV adoption, I would like to see more innovations And I would like to see the rest of the world embracing the innovators and the innovations that needs to be enjoyed by every citizen around the world. So, I would say I would like to see that innovations, again, has no barriers, no countries, no religion, no bias. It needs to be accessible to every single person in every part of the world, around the world. So I would like to see that. That's my wish.
Thank you so much for the conversation.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.